Okay, so an addendum to the last one. So I'm going to explain in case this is the only video you're watching. So I'm cutting a stencil, cutting a few stencils of shapes that I want potentially for this. I've done these kind of like little provisional collage pieces, and I had some larger pieces up there before. But that kind of like this painting kind of like solidified and finished itself in a way. And it's like, oh man, that kind of fucking blows, because I still love you, you know, going off that Jackson Pollock quote of like, when do you know when a painting's done? Oh, when do you know when you're done making love? I think the punchline to that is, you know, Jackson Pollock comes early. So I've never heard anyone else say that, but I've given that quote a lot of thought. And I think that's kind of the answer, is like, you know, maybe this person actually is just a kind of a, you know, you should be in love with something and go back into it and be a, you know, a good lover. So this is a collage element that I used as a mask, and I pushed paint over it, and that makes a clean edge. And I like that color, and I like the element. It looks like a piece of paper stuck on it, but it is paint. So I want to do a lot more of that stuff. And I don't think these are like the answer all the way. I'm also just going to make some kind of a elongated delta shapes and some kind of like craggy, you know, shapes like that. I think would be like kind of a craggy shape. And, you know, I'm going to start throwing little brackets on this thing, because some of these sections are muddy and they do what they need to do in terms of the painting as a whole. But let's see if we can't have some things sit on top and be really nice to work with. You know, this painting will be naked insofar as it will have, you'll see all of the additive, you know, things like, but that could be mitigated by doing what I did here, you know, using a mask. So using the positive side of the, you know, stencil as a shape, and painting all fucked up on top of that, and then removing the mask, and you'll have fucked up stuff below and fucked up stuff above, but the edges will contrast and play, and it'll really get the painting moving, and maybe be a good solution. Okay, so I remember the point that I wanted to make in this video was, you know, I looked at my channel, and it's like a few art videos, a walkthrough of a gallery, and then a few vlogs. And I wanted to show myself painting, but when the camera's on, I like to talk to the camera, and that's not painting. Painting's a lot of process in silence, and but you know, in the vlog, I did have a chance to put some stuff on the canvas, and I got ideas while I was talking to the camera. So that was useful, but I want to, you know, inquire, or maybe have a call to action. What would be a good, you know, what do you appreciate about my channel? If I have 3 subscribers, what would be, you know, do you prefer art videos, art pieces, or, you know, artful videos, avant-garde, you know, funny videos? Do you prefer seeing me paint, having me talk about art history? I kind of don't care in a way, you know, right now, because I have so few subscribers. This is just a way for me to talk to myself and kind of go through my thoughts, obviously. But what I think my intention for the channel is, if I continue doing it, which I do, I have a goal. I ended up watching a bunch of PewDiePie, and I didn't tell anyone at the time that I was watching it, but it's a phenomenon. I mean, the person's been doing once a days for 10 years, and now I think he's chilled out, but I don't watch him anymore. But you know, I found that very inspiring. I'm glad I have a decent amount of distance from him now, and clicking on his videos, and I've unsubscribed and all this stuff, but yeah, it seems useful. I also blog, and so that's me writing, but it takes me sitting down to a keyboard. So anyway, this is just a way for me to kind of suss out my thoughts, but I also really want to show what I'm doing as a young artist, because I feel like I'm really doing it. I feel like people, I don't want to get terribly political, but at the same time I kind of do. It's always a shame when you're in an industry and you see charlatans, for lack of a better term. I don't use that word really, but yeah, people come through and get the jobs that you clearly have devoted your life to, and the idea that others don't see that is kind of a shame. But that comes with the devotion. I mean, that's the kind of agreement that you made with yourself, is that you will do this through sickness or health, good weather, bad weather, and that is where from you derive your purpose. If someone is scabbing, that's their business. Or black socks. What's it called? Blacklegging. That's what it's called. Yeah, that's their business, and they might make a quick buck, but they won't have the heart or the stamina or the wellspring to pull from, which comes with the off times, the downtimes, the times when you're not employed, not getting so anyway, so I'm scheming all the time, and I have these kind of clean paintings. I really want to show these off. This is pretty early on. This one, it's good. In the morning and at night, I can look at this thing in very low light, and it does what it needs to do, so that lets me know I'm on the right track. I think I'm painting over that, but I'm not sure, because part of me likes the moon through the trees effect. There's an artist called Kyle Staver, and on her Instagram she does different artists through time painting the same thing, and she had one that was like moon through trees, that 3 artists did versions of, and I thought, okay, here goes, I'll do one too. Okay, so other paintings. I just did this to my apartment yesterday. I built these little shelves, and with a pneumatic air compressor nailer, shot all these shelves into the wall so that I can see the show as a whole. These small ones I want to go into, well, first they're going to go into a gallery window in the town that I live in, or the town that I live on the outskirts of. These kind of larger dimension ones are intended for a marketplace. I don't know about that one, but it's pretty. And the marketplace will be November and December. So I'm hoping to sell. I have it written down. This is my kind of scheme right here. September, Plantation Fields, which is a horse trials, so horse paintings. December, Marketplace. January, a tavern. I might have just given away where I live, but I don't care really that much. But anyway, and I have my price points mapped out. I went to illustration school, so this kind of feels familiar. Art school is more like, bullshit school, so you learn how to like subversively manipulate people into thinking that your art is divine. And I'm really glad I went to illustration school before that, because it was more like, paint a donut. Bring a painting of a donut in on Monday. 6 inches by 6 inches in oil, and have it a matte cut. Have it matted. So when you bring it on my desk, the mat will be 2.5 inches and the painting will be 6x6. Therefore, the final product will be 11 inches by 11 inches. Very specific, way cooler, and way more having to do with how art works. I mean, yeah, man, fuck sticking paintbrushes up your vagina and, fuck all that. That's so dumb. That's a shtick. So, the proportion, the Neapolitans, these are my thumbnails. This one came to me in a dream, I'm happy to say, or in the middle of before I went to sleep. So I kind of knew where this was going, and it's about the light. It's about the kind of like, and I know what this is, and maybe you don't, but what it is just a light pouring through, a field. And so these are like grasses going back into space, and that's just like a little window of like a brilliant moment of light. That's the same as the other painting that I showed you. A horse on a beach, I couldn't help it, kind of. It wasn't really that in the beginning, but my drawing looked more like a horse on a beach, so I did that, and we'll see if I can't whip that into something special. But yeah, that's kind of my thinking. Yeah, so that's the second thumbnail. So I take a picture, and then from the picture I draw a first thumbnail, and then I draw a second thumbnail. And really, in terms of art school rules, illustration school rules, I should be drawing, more thumbnails until it works. But that number 2 thumbnail I thought was just brilliant, and I knew what to do. Like, I had a very clear vision of what the colors needed to be, so I'm just gonna do it. But I think when I'm an older artist, I'll probably do color studies, because I really, that was the point of going to illustration schools. I knew that I was missing something. That kind of gut, like, like moving paint around is basically just like it's like a baby, like pitching a fit, and it's immature, but its strength is that it is real, it's genuine. But how long can you keep that up? How long can you, keep putting out these calls to youth? You'll get old, and it's not attainable. It's not a good plan. You got to learn to paint. You got to learn to actually paint. So I found that with graffiti too. Doing graffiti was a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun to like go and be young and catch wreck, and like get up and just destroy stuff, and just have your name everywhere. But when younger kids, when you need money and you get a job, for example, and you need to do life stuff, and then some younger kids who live with their parents and get money from their parents, or they just have money, they're rich or something, and they've got nothing but time, and they'll fucking wreck you, and they'll get way up, way harder. And what are you gonna do? You're gonna try to catch up with them? Their graffiti is worse. It's not as good as yours, but they've got the means to annihilate you. And that clearly happens in art. So then you go to craft, to where what you have is untouchable, and that's when artists become quiet. So, being in art school as a 29-year-old was a little bit painful in that way, because I wanted to become quiet somewhat, but I was also, I don't know, it was kind of fun. I was like, I want to say bully, but I tried not to be a bully, but when people would fuck with me, especially because I was old, at least I could paint way better than them. So, and that's a qualitative statement, so maybe I shouldn't make it. All art is good, etc. But these fucking assholes being, you know, cunts to me, basically. I didn't have any problems, I guess, through school. And I kind of learned some lessons about, like, not sleeping with people, and because I ended up not sleeping with people. It's a good way to do art school, is not to sleep with people. Counterintuitive, because you would think that that would be the place and everyone is super hot, but I'm glad I ended up waiting till I was 25, still very sexy and stuff like that, but you know, still marketable. And in fact, I had some opportunities that I would kind of like, you know, mitigate, but that's not the reason you're going to school. And you'll just drain into, you know, you'll like devolve. So anyway, I'm glad I went older, and I'm glad I did graffiti, because everything happens really fast between, you know, a certain age and a certain age is a really good time. I mean, you need to leave the world. That's the whole point of those, what do they call them? The German word for it is, you know, it's like growing up. These works of art that have to do with maturing. So you need to, the world rejects you. You're a child, so the world loves you and gives you everything. And then the world rejects you because you're not a child and you're not useful. And so you're just in nowhere land. And a lot of kids are in school at that time, and they don't use that time to bridge the gap, because the school is another version of giving you everything that you need. So they end up just prolonging their childhood and being children to one another. And you don't want to this goes without, you know, but even if children are, you know, in their 20s, you don't want to fuck them. You just get in a big mess. So anyway, I was happy to have all that kind of knowledge in my little bank as a result of skipping out on school for a while between 23 and 25. Doesn't seem like that long at all. Huh. I think I skipped out of school for 3 or 4 years, though. So I think between 20... I would guess 22 and 25. I think that's more like it. It's probably accurate. It's probably more like 3 years and some change. I skipped out on some school. And anyway, so you get the point. So I want to ask, the point of this video is to ask, if you were to comment, that would be cool. You might be outing yourself as one of my subscribers. But I think that'd be fine. And maybe you just stumbled across this video. That's fine too. Tell me what you like about this video, or tell me what you would like to see on this channel based on the videos that I've already done. Or if you want me to branch into something else, I fear to say it, but you know what I mean, like philosophy. Everyone thinks they're a fucking philosopher, and it's mad annoying, but I kind of touch that sometimes. Art history I touch sometimes, painting techniques and stuff like that. And then the other option is art itself, like I make video art. And hopefully this stream of consciousness style is art, right? Because I like the beatniks and stuff like that, and James Joyce. And so with that, I'm gonna go. Thanks.